My man, how's it?
Proper, proper.
Proper.
Yes. All
Um,
is well.
First, let me say thank you for welcoming us into your building. What is this one called? Because you guys have names for all the buildings.
This building is named after a great revolutionary
Okay.
called Norman fellow fighter Mashabane,
Okay.
who was involved in the underground activities of the African National Congress. And the ANC, after democracy, deployed him to become an ambassador in Europe. So this was a way of honoring his contribution to the betterment of our country. Welcome to Norman fellow fighter Mashavani House.
Thank you.
I am not welcoming you on behalf of the African National Congress. I am welcoming you because we are using the facilities of the ANC.
Okay.
And at this instance,
Yeah.
I am the one who is responsible for this facility. So welcome.
Wow. Thank you so much. I couldn't wait to actually do this interview because I'm mostly focused on entertainers, musicians. So for us, it's more like a paradigm shift. And we've been getting calls from our audience to say, don't only focus on entertainment. So for me as well, it's like it's a new beginning, So I'm actually happy to be here. We actually feel welcomed, and thank you so much.
No, thanks. And actually, it's a great privilege.
Yeah.
Because in everything which you do,
Yeah.
You must always remember that it is motivated by politics. There are politics in everything
Are you
which
sure?
you do. So even at home, there's a faction or those who you resonate better with.
Yeah.
Those politics does not have to be about going to a community hall and saying I'm available and
Yeah.
what's not, but the way in which we do things. And in this instance, when you speak about entertainment, it is politicians who must come to the fore to support this entertainment. So if you get a panorama from us, it becomes important in the sense that...
the working dictionary is being schooled today. What is a paranormal? Anyways, guys, welcome
Yeah.
to another episode of Limpopo Podcast. You already know, your boy, Omee Otis, the walking dictionary. And today I have a special young guest or a young man. He's here to tell us about, I don't know, man. Yeah, I think this man has got a lot to say, and we're about to find out. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment. We like hearing from you because it's important for us to actually get the reviews for our growth. And don't forget, we are sponsored by Adon. Or let me rather say Adore. I messed it up. We are rather sponsored by Adore. And today we are not at our usual place. But I believe we're going to have fun. We're going to learn. And we're going to be informed. As I said, we are taking a different direction right now. So without any waste of time, my man, Douglas Ngobeni, if I got it right. Correct. How would you describe Douglas Ngobeni?
Well, Douglas is a young man who grew up, actually was born and bred
Yeah.
in the famous township of Nkowanko.
Okay.
You know, his contribution to bettering our society have led to him going out of the township and going to all parts of the country. And when he is asked, where do you come from? He does not say Pulukwani, does not say Limpopo. He says it directly that he's from Nkowanko.
Yes.
Because he understands that once you start engaging in certain sectors also of our society, you need to remember home. You need to remember where you come from. That is why, to some extent, when he does all this politics of his, he does not forget his roots. And I'm very glad that we are sitting today in a house, Norman Mashabane house, which gave birth to us politically.
Yeah.
I started this political journey, I think I was in grade 1, because politics do not have to be about affiliation, but it has to be about how you engage on the issues you encounter. So from a very young age, I've always been passionate about resolving issues which affect our communities.
Yeah.
But, because I was still very young then, it was very difficult for me to go outright and engage in this politics because parents will be paranoid sometimes to say that once he goes into that space, he might not come back alive.
Yeah.
Or once you go into the ANC or any political party, you become corrupted.
Yes.
There has always been that issue about politics with our parents to say that once you go into politics, you become disrespectful. Once you go into politics, you don't even listen to your teachers, your parents, or anyone.
Yeah.
So I'm just one young man from Nkowanko who has been passionate for a very long time with politics. But central to my passion about politics is the issue around the struggle against racism. Because there is a general consensus in our society that racism undermines humanity. So once we are in a space where one feels belittled, that is why I come in. Because I want us to create a society which is viable for everyone, where everyone feels important, where everyone feels significant, where everyone feels that they are human beings. So once you practice racism, that is where you invite me to the battlefield. I remember at grade 9, I was in grade 9, and that was before I joined or affiliated with any political party. And I realized it later. I was at Northern Academy. And at some instance, one teacher called Kukemur, I will never forget his name. The man embarrassed me by mooring me with a baseball bat at the buttocks. And he called that punishment. But only to realize later that that thing was not an ordinary punishment. It was a form of racism because there was a hatred on how he punished me. You cannot want to correct a person by bringing pain unto that person. So that thing has brought a lot of anger on me. But the anger did not explode to an extent that every time I come across a white person, I will then want to fight. It exploded in a sense that every time there is an issue of racism, which confronts our people, I rise to the occasion to correct the mistake which happened when I was still in grade 9. Not that I still hold grudges with anyone, but I want to participate in making sure that our society becomes a society where everyone feels so important.
Did you ever? I heard you speak about your actually upbringing in the area of schools. Did you ever go to St. George?
No, I went to Meridian. I was rejected at St. George.
I feel like I know that face. I don't know, for some reason, every time I see your face, I feel
Let me remind you, we grew up together. You just do not know anymore.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
we
Your
we
face,
literally
it's coming back now.
we
Like,
literally grew up together. Me and you. You used to stay that side of Teba.
yes,
That is where my grandmother's house is.
exactly. Because I'm like,
So
no, 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 man. As I'm looking at you now, I'm like, no ways, man. This face, it looks so familiar. Where do I know this guy from?
we literally grew up together. Yeah, forgotten because that time you amongst us. You were the
Yeah.
cheese boy, the only one who went to private schools, and we all remained in do. So after school, you would be enclosed at home. You will not. Their parents will not want you to play like these rough kids.
Yo, man.
But yeah, we literally grew up together, Tsepiso.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, now you are through. You see the thing of inviting
Yeah.
politicians, they expose you. Now people
But
know.
you were not as bad as the one who could have
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then why? I think you've already answered one of my questions, but why the ANC and what is your role in the ANC?
The African National Congress is a liberator of our society. The African National Congress played a pivotal role in giving us the freedom and the democracy which we enjoy today. The African National Congress is people-driven. The African National Congress is a movement which championed the liberation of the people, not only of South Africa, but Africa. Remember, when the ANC was first formed in 1909, it was called the South African National Congress. But because of the general understanding that the issues which are faced by South Africans at that particular point in time are similar to those which are faced by the rest of Africa. So I joined the African National Congress because I believe that it can only be the policies in the African National Congress which continue to liberate the people of South Africa. But the only problem which we encounter today is that the people who are now given the opportunity to lead the African National Congress, and I don't want to speak a lot about national politics. We need to start from the sphere of local government. You say once a person becomes a mayor, this is where the ANC loses it. Once a big person becomes a mayor, they start thinking that they are yourself. They think that they are celebrities now. Once you get into a car with blue lights, you start feeling more important than the rest. Once you start having bodyguards, you think that you are now untouchable. So the problem which the African National Congress faces now is that its deployees have totally tended to be to be what they used to be opposed to. I joined the African National Congress with a belief that as a young individual, I am going to be able to grow and engage in certain sectors of our society. But before I joined the African National Congress, I joined a movement called the Congress of South African Students, the Black and White Army. A movement, a scholar movement, of course, which produced so many top crop South Africans, politicians. You name them.
Yeah.
They are from this movement. They are from COSAS. I joined the Congress of South African Students with an understanding that once you are in a classroom, you are not subject to exploitation of any form. I joined COSAS because I wanted to contribute enormously to the battle against the status quo which is happening in our classrooms. I had an understanding when I joined COSAS that the moment a learner is denied a report card because they have not paid 100 rand or they have not paid school fees, they are now subjecting the learner to a form of violation. Because once a teacher and a parent or a school and a parent have an agreement, the agreement should not be binding to the learner. If you are a parent and you are unable to pay the school fees of your child, the child must now receive a report card. I joined the Congress of South African Students because I believed that there are less people or a few people who understand that principle to say that there are indeed the rights of a learner in a classroom. I did not join the Congress of South African Students to say that COSAS is an organization which take schools out when there's an issue or whatnot, but because I wanted to embrace correctness in our society.
Yeah.
Because correctness, discipline, and respect should start in our schools. So if there is no one who is now supposed to advocate for these learners who are innocent at that particular point, it now means that they are going to be subject to whatever feelings that teachers have on them. If a teacher comes to school and they have not had a proper morning, they are going to take out that frustration on them.
Yes.
So, but if we are able to engage and interact with that teacher on a political level, a teacher is now able to understand that I'm in a work environment.
Yes.
I am supposed to educate this learner and deliver him from the evilness which is embedded in him.
Now, you spoke about a report card that learners should be able to acquire one. So I want to know from you, recently, Mashabane spoke about, the pass rate should move to 50%. So I wanted to know from you, do you agree with that?
I normally do not take coconuts serious because here we are speaking about issues of the revolution. And the revolution never happen on Twitter. The revolution can never happen when a person feels like they need to tweet something and then society needs to live up to that tweet. We cannot have a revolution if we still continue to cough when Mashabane sneezes. Mashabane is a person who became an experiment at DA. It was a white experiment. So I am not even going to comment on Mashabane because he does not add any value and he does not contribute anyhow to the status of our education in South Africa. If Mashabane wanted to make a comment on education, he should have said that time when he was still made the cartoon leader of DA to say that let us at least transform our education system. Let us have a career-orientated curriculum. Do you know how much it takes for a learner to acquire 30% in an exam? It takes a lot of effort. And they pass their matric with that 30%. And now a person who believes that the quality of education is compromised because of 30%, and that person is a questionable character like Mashabane. So the question we should be having as society and leaders of society now is how do we best qualify our education system?
Sure.
Because you cannot speak or question the quality of education over the past percentage. You should be able to question the quality of education through the content and context of the education which you are given. Because Mashabane is saying to us, for young black people to continue to be even more productive slaves, they must now acquire 50% or more. He's now saying that his white masters, do not longer appreciate these ones who pass with 30%.
Well, you have a point. And looking at the universities, how important is it for political parties to host bashes in the universities? Because we do see it, Univen, you see it in UL. So I want to look to you, like, what is your observation with that?
Entertainment is an integral part of youth development. You belong to the entertainment sector. And once you have a bash in an institution of higher learning, you as a young black artist, you are going to benefit. But we are not saying that 24/7, when you wake up, there's a bash. When you sleep, there's a bash. We are saying that for us to be able to empower young black artists, we should have events of such nature. Because if these things do not start amongst us, we are now going to a situation and a stage where we become independent. It means that we'll have to wait for scoundrels and charlatans, very old ones for that matter, to call a bash, and then we then get sent to go and buy ice for the bash and everything. But if I'm in an authoritative position and I've got the opportunity of throwing a big party so that young people become happy, I'm going to do it. So what is happening in those events and all other institutions of higher learning? I think I wish it could happen every now and then. Young people must become happy, because in South Africa, we are a generation of sad young people. So when we see Omee performing there, when we see Kabza performing there, our emotions get entrenched. And by the way, that is where some of us even find proper people there. So this thing is Kamina Kawen.
But one would challenge that and say, look, the ruling party is struggling to meet just the requirements when it comes to service delivery, but then they are then able to pay like 80 to 100,000 to an artist who's just coming to perform for like 30 minutes instead of like handling a community problem that has been going on probably for months. Let's say water and electricity. Why is it so simple for the ruling party or any other political party to have it so easy to take out 80 to 100 grand on an artist who's coming to perform for like 30 minutes, but cannot, handle the basic community, what do you call them? Is it, community struggles, you know them, the potholes and water and so forth.
Look, let me give you this variation. There's money for government, and the ANC has its own money. And how it deals or how it spends its own money should be an issue between it and its own members.
Okay.
But now, when you want to speak about service delivery, that is when we direct it to government. And we have got
Is the ANC not the government, since it's the ruling party?
The government is the government of South Africa under the rule of the African National Congress. So the ANC is not government. The government is the government of South Africa under the majority rule of the African National Congress.
Okay.
So the African National Congress, that is why to some extent, the African National Congress does not even have money to pay its staff. But if you go to the Department of Health, you find that nurses are being paid. If you go to the Department of Education, teachers are being paid. Because we have got an understanding that if the ANC does not have money to pay its staff, it does not mean that government that does not have money to pay its people or its employees. Now, the problem which we have in the African National Congress today is that we have got people who are sleeping on duty. President Cyril Ramaphosa came here last year for what we called, he came to Nkowankowa Stadium for Litsima campaign. You know that I have never seen the Greater Zanini municipality working like that.
Yes,
they were patching potholes everywhere.
Yes.
So it signifies the fact, and it also affirms the fact that people are sleeping on duty. It is only when someone has to come that they start working. But if they were able to do that on a daily basis, when they see a pothole, they dispatch a team to go and patch that pothole. Will be a town which does not complain with anything. The only problem we'll be having in South Africa will only be load shedding, and of course load shedding we're dealing directly with Praveen. But now, what I'm trying to say here is that if the ANC is able to pay 80,000 for an artist to perform for 30 minutes, in fact, people should be grateful to the ANC that the ANC is able to support a black artist, because that is the source of bread which the artist gets. If the ANC does not If we are seated here, the ANC does not owe any artist in the country.
Yeah.
It has paid all the invoices. We should be grateful that the ANC is honest and empowering.
And then, why do you think young and old people of South Africa should continue to vote for the ANC in 2023?
In 2024, of course.
Yes.
The
Like I'm
African-
saying, like starting from
okay.
now, like going forward.
I think I will just have to go back because I can hear that you want to behave as if you are a lawyer in the court of law, you're a prosecutor, bringing the same question in different manners. The African National Congress continues to have the best policies of developing any nation.
Yeah.
Even if you were to go to the United States of America
Yeah.
and you presented these policies to say that these are ANC policies which are aimed at developing your country,
Yeah.
the US will adopt them and implement them. The problem which we are having is a lack of political participation by young people.
Yeah.
Young people want to sit in dark corners smoking nyaupe. Young people want to sit behind behind their cell phones, tweeting to say that there's a pothole. The government is not employing us. To say all sorts of things. But young people in the front line of the revolution, you don't find them. The only way we are going to be able to fix and correct our society through the African National Congress, of course, is to make sure that we participate and have our views heard by the African National Congress.
Yeah.
Because the ANC, this emblem of black, green, and gold,
Yeah.
has not wronged anyone. There's no problem at all with the ANC. It is the people who are leading the ANC. It is the people who are in the ANC who have got everything wrong. We take nonsense and say that these people must become leaders of the African National Congress. We have let hyenas take care of the goats, but as soon as they go missing, we wonder why.
When you speak about nonsense, who are you specifically referring to?
These people who let potholes stay there and only fix them when the president comes.
Okay,
That is the kind of nonsense
we'll come back
leaders were speaking
we'll come
about.
back to that. I saw you taking a walk with Begitele.
Yes.
And it was quite a walk.
Yeah.
You could see that these people, they do know each other. And you were not trying to,
Yeah.
I'm sure you are very much well recognized within the party.
Yeah.
So, and you did say something about, I heard you say something in the words of, this is the only old man we can allow to
Yeah.
basically stay in his position.
Yeah.
And looking at the ANC and all political parties, people who are in the parliament, why is it so important for politics or for people who are sitting in the parliament not to actually have an age limit to say maybe by the age of 65 we retire versus the ordinary people who are forced to retire at the age of 65? Are we then not led by the same constitution? And is it fair, for the application of the law not to to be so inconsistent with the same laws that they have set? So why is it that we're having differences there? The people who are sitting in the parliament, they can go be above the age of 65, but ordinary South Africans are forced to retire.
You are trying to get me into a corner.
Which corner? No,
Because you saw me walking with Becky Cele, who's over the age of 60.
yes.
Look, there is a difference between public servants, a person who types a CV, goes and applies for a job.
Okay.
That one, by the age of 60 and upwards, is regarded by our government as a pensioner. But there's a difference between that person and a person who works tirelessly for a community. And the community ends up having confidence in that person. And they say, even when you are 80, come and lead us as a council. So For a person to become a public representative, not a public servant, a public representative, they need to have earned the accolades, the correct accolades. So when we say that Bheki Cele must now come back as a minister or as a member of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, it was obviously motivated by the fact that when we raised this view in plenary at the National Policy Conference of the ANC to say that those who are 60 and above should go home and retire, our view was defeated by majority. But even when that is the case, we have always known that there is a need for an intergenerational transgression. And intergenerational transgression does not mean that you wipe out the generation which came before you completely.
Yeah.
You seek wisdom from those people. But to some extent, our advice was that when you go home and take care of your children and your grandchildren, don't focus too much on them.
Okay.
When we come, you should be able to dispatch wisdom on us. So the question which you are raising, therefore, is such that the response is such that we are saying that those who are 60 and above should go home and stay with their children, but also with an understanding that the constitution of the ANC and that of the Republic are two different things.
Okay.
The issue of 60 and above is only an arrangement.
Okay.
When we say that youth is 14 to 35, that thing is an arrangement. It's not a legal principle. It's an arrangement which we have said to say that no, a person we believe is active from the age of 14, and then when they reach 35, they become reluctant on issues. They are no longer as sharp as they used to be.
Yeah.
And what's on. So it's an arrangement. Even this one of being a pension is an arrangement. When we speak of a young person, we speak of a person who is still energetic, a person who is still vibrant, a person who is still able to rise to the occasion and address issues.
So you, as a young person, while you're still on that, I believe you are more than capable of holding the higher office, right? Due to the language that I'm hearing right now. So if that is the case, when will you get the opportunity if there isn't that power shift within whether it's the ANC or the government? So where are you going to get those opportunities as a young person? Where are you going to get them if the older ones are not willing to move and make spaces for people like you?
We're not requesting anyone to move here. We are saying, we're demanding that they move. We're not submitting a CV of saying, please go home and rest with your children. We are saying that we are coming with a serious battalion which is going to push you, whether you like it or not. Because once we lay our hands on you and your sugar diabetes starts and your BP starts going high, you will have no choice but to go. Because we know that eventually that will also arrive to us. So you must not wait for anyone to create an opportunity for you. You create an opportunity for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we are seated here today. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
That we are seated here, we're recording a podcast.
It is a privilege.
Because podcasts are an alternative, they are an alternative form of mainstream media.
Yes.
Because the mainstream media of South Africa is either censored or externally sponsored.
Yes.
You yourself said and say that for me to be recognized as an artist, I am not going to wait for Puleli Sweetie Jones of ANC to come and interview me. You say that I am going to create and form a podcast, limpopo.podcast. And in that sense, I will also be giving other young people in our province an opportunity to be seen and heard. So you don't have to wait for anyone to give you an opportunity. You must create the opportunity for yourself.
Yeah.
That is why in 1944, there was a generation within the African National Congress. We said,
Did you say 1944?
correct. 1944, there's a generation within the African National Congress led by Nelson Mandela, A.P. Mda, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, Nelson Mandela, and many, many other young comrades who say that, look, there is the African National Congress here. We're all members of the African National Congress. But if we were to go and confront these old people directly, they would wallop us. They decided to form what we call the African National Congress Youth League. It is the African National Congress which has forever shaped the policies and politics of the African National Congress at a policy perspective. Every time the African National Congress went to a conference of the ANC, they always had a panorama to submit. They will say that this is what we are submitting as young people. We are not saying, because we have an understanding that the African National Congress belongs to everyone. But this one of the Youth League belongs to us as young people. So this is the view which we are submitting. They created and crafted their own program of action, which they imposed onto the African National Congress. The ANC was left with no choice but to adopt that program of action. And it became effective to an extent that the African National Congress Youth League and the ANC was now heard and felt in all parts of the country.
Is it safe for one to take politics as a career, or it is all just a game of power?
You can never take politics for a career, because once you engage in something and you call it a career, it means that you are money driven. We are not in politics because we feel that we want money or want to have access to resources. We are in politics because we have an understanding that the status quo in our society.
Well, I think everybody who's watching is well aware that you have an understanding of what you're doing based on already the information you've given.
I am driven by the poverty which is enshrined in our communities. I am driven, painfully so, by the young people of Ward 1 of Enoch Mgijima in the Eastern Cape, who in winter still have to cross a river to school. I want to change that situation. I want to make sure that I take out these young people who have surrendered their lives to Nyaope, who are now staying in taxi ranks, who are now staying in Joburg, in the CBD, without hope. If I am able, then I will be able to lay my hand and make sure that I take them out of that space. I am not driven by money. I am not driven by power. That is why, even when I engage on an issue, I don't engage as that Ngobeni, who's the national spokesperson of COSAS. When I give back to the community, I do that with an understanding that I am an individual who is more privileged than others. And those who are less privileged than me need to get a fair share of my life.
Sure.
Because I have reached a point as a young person of saying that the life which I live now belongs to me no more. It belongs to everyone. My life is now driven by the struggles of our people. My life is driven by the poverty which our people find themselves in. My life is driven by these young graduates who are unemployable or do not get jobs. My life is driven by the fight against 350 rands as a way of patronizing our youth.
Thank you for going into that 350. During COVID, 300 million. I like the fact that we're talking about this 300 million was made available for entertainers and artists, but only 488 of the 5,000 that applied received the relief fund. And the rest of the money, it was deemed or said to be lost. So I want to know, how is Nati Mteto, correct? Not held accountable like Zweli Mkhize. Why is he not held accountable? like Zweli Mkhize, because Zweli Mkhize, I believe he was held accountable during the same, or if same subject, the COVID related matters. So why is he not held accountable? Because there's so much money that was lost that was meant for the public, or should I say entertainers.
Once again, I will go back to that view which I submitted to say that you are behaving like you're a prosecutor in the court of law.
No, I'm
asking me the same question in different manners. But I understand that as a working dictionary, you are not doing it for your own self. Mm-hmm. You are doing it for your audience. Natim Teto, the Minister of Congratulations and Condolences, because that is the only thing he's best in. When Ndavi Nukeri wins as Miss South Africa, he releases a statement, congratulations. When Bafana gets walloped, he receives them in War Tampo. So when we speak about people who are also sleeping on the job, we are speaking about Mr. 22 million flag.
Okay.
But just to go back and respond to your question.
Yeah. He said he's a minister of condolences and congratulations.
So just to go back to respond to your question, it pains me to have young people who only complain and they don't do anything about it. Young people who do not go to the streets, young people who do not vote, young people who do not raise views in correct platforms because they feel they're shameful or they are ashamed of something, or they do not have the confidence. But if you find these people, these young people, at some makula spaza shop, speaking politics,
active,
300 million, they will tell you that 500 billion was chowed in 2 days in South Africa. But these young people have not even done any research. These young people have not went out to say that if there's 500 billion, which is allocated for relief.
Yes.
Why are young people not getting this amount, what's or not? I can tell you what, during COVID, we also risked our lives. We went out, we went to the streets to make sure, we went to meetings. I remember I was in one meeting with Panyaza Lesotho in Gauteng when he was still MEC of Education. And I told Panyaza, look, there's no school in Gauteng which will go without a sanitizer. There's no learner in Gauteng who must go without a face mask. You know why? Because I believed in myself as a young person to say that young people should benefit at least from my efforts, at least from the sweat which I get. Responding to that 300 million, which was taken by 400 people, and yourself, Shem, you did not benefit anything.
Nothing.
Shem.
Zero.
Oh, Shem. I wish I knew so that I confront the relevant people. But no, it's fine. Maybe COVID will come again. You will benefit. But responding to that, I think it is an issue of young people not claiming their space. I will not have expected Arthur Mafukate to get a cent from that form of relief.
And I believe
because Arthur was in the game for a very long time. So the COVID did not even affect him anyhow. He still stays in Sandton. He does not have a problem with anything. As compared to you, who had to go around Zanini holding a microphone saying, how are you, how are you, how are you? Morebas, so that you are able to buy a camera. So you will not be able to do it during that dire time of COVID. But the person who comes out, who has been in the game for long, has benefited from that arrangement. And if you feel that there is a lot of maladministration in that space, you are very fortunate yourself. There's a police station here in Zani. Go and open a case, we'll support you. As we don't support criminals.
Are they not sleeping on the job?
The police, you must wake them up.
Okay.
You must wake them up. These ones are public servants.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is why I told their boss, Becky Kele, to say that you must tell these boys of yours to stop mooring us with rubber bullets when we protest, because it won't be nice when we meet them in taverns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there are people at the end of the day.
So tell me, what really happens at this ANC conferences that even last up to 2 to 3 days a week? What really happens there?
A conference of the African National Congress is a conference. As a church goer, you would understand what a conference is. When they say that you have got a church conference, it will mean that you have external pastors,
Yeah.
people from other churches coming to a church.
That's true.
Start eating, and then it's wow. You feel like Jesus has arrived on your building that day, because there is a lot of exchange of the Bible verses.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening. So the same applies in a conference of the African National Congress. First and foremost, it is a conference because it is open to everyone.
Okay.
It is open to
And then why do you guys have those tags?
Listen.
Okay.
It is open to pastors. It is open to business people. It is open to witches. It is open to wizards, everyone.
Okay.
But for you to participate, you need to be accredited.
Okay.
Because there's order in the ANC.
Okay.
We expect a number of people in a conference of the African National Congress. Say that we're expecting 4,000 people. And we do not go around picking people from the streets. We send out an invitation to Mugabe. Mugabe, please come and attend our conference.
Yeah.
Whoever we send the invitation to. So what happens in a conference of the African National Congress? I don't know if you want me to take it step by step, where the chairperson
I think
opens the conference, the president delivers.
No.
But in the main,
Yeah.
what is fundamental in a conference of the African National Congress is what we call commissions.
Yes.
Because that is where we create a constitution of a movement. That is where we adopt policies as a movement.
Okay.
If we say that the ANC takes a policy position on expropriation of land without compensation, we take that position in what we call commissions. So a lot of things happen. It's just that there's no alcohol in a conference of the ANC, and there's no this thing which you use in church. What do the holy water?
Yes.
Yeah.
That if there's no alcohol, you guys are focused on the commissions. What are slay queens doing there?
That is diminishing.
Because
that is diminishing the brand of the African National Congress.
You know why I'm saying so?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were referring to something else, or maybe I took it in the wrong way, but I saw a post of you saying you saw a number of slay queens. Yes, a fleet of slay queens have just landed. The real owners of the ANC. So I want to know, why is it that slay queens are so much associated with the African National Congress?
You see, these people who invite these slay queens in programs of the ANC are the ones who are destroying the African National Congress. Because there's already a general perception out in our society that once you join the African National Congress, you're going to have access to resources, going to have access to power. And these people are people who are only driven by profit. They are not different from capitalism. Because once you start taking people who are not even members of the ANC serious as compared to members of the ANC, and the people who do the ground for the ANC and the people of South Africa subsequently, you are saying to us, these people are less important as compared to what as compared to your own personal feeling. Because in a conference of the ANC, we expect people to be engaging ideologically. It's supposed to be a festival of ideas.
Yes.
It's not supposed to be a festival of sex, where you leave your own woman, your wife at home. And then when you go to a conference of the ANC, you even go as far as exploiting a young girl Because she's beautiful. She has been given a beautiful body by God. And when you see her, you already see a girlfriend for a weekend. And you take our money, which we work so hard for.
That is supposed to go to the people.
That is supposed to go to the people, which is supposed to pay artists, which is supposed to pay the staffers in the African National Congress. Money which is supposed to patch potholes. And you pay 500,000 for one round. So you are saying to us who are fools by becoming members of the ANC. So that is the perception which we want to erase in the African National Congress, to say that the ANC, when you're a leader of the ANC and you see a beautiful girl parading around wearing a miniskirt, and you are that 60 and above, sugar diabetic, you are supposed to say to that girl, my girl, come here. We're going to take you to school, okay? You can't see a wife in a person who is even younger than your own daughter.
Maybe they have the same perception that you have of, that is where they find the correct people.
No. When we go to this thing of festivals in institutions of higher learning,
I understand.
There it is mainly for that. We're not saying that when you're a member of the ANC, you should not go to Cuban.
Yeah.
We are saying to you, in a program of the ANC, members of the ANC should be prioritized more than those which are not of the ANC. So you can't take a slave queen and put a slave queen over me. You're mad. And you expect me to vote you in as a leader of the ANC in the next conference. You are mad.
Speaking of Cubana, someone might say the ANC uniform or clothing, it is the new Gucci. Why do comrades put on the uniform of the Congolese whenever they decide to go out, maybe to a groove or to the likes of Cubana?
Well, it depends on comrades. There is no rule in the ANC which governs that, to say that when you go into a certain space, you don't put on this kind of clothes.
Yes.
But that which we do not accept, and I want to believe that the Secretary General of the ANC will or has addressed it, Comrade Fikile Mbalula, is that you must not be found wanting. You must not be found in a space where you are against the law under the colors and the umbrella of the African National Congress. That which I will never support as an individual is going to a court of law, mobilize people to say that we are going to support a person who's accused of stealing money.
Yeah.
And that person is a leader of the ANC. That which I discourage is members of the ANC going into that space wearing regalia of the ANC. Yeah. If you want to support a person who is accused by the law of having done something, you must do it at your own accord.
Yeah.
Do not involve the African National Congress, because the moment you go there wearing the regalia of the ANC, you are saying that the ANC is supporting this issue.
Yes.
So when you go to Cubana with a T-shirt of the ANC, let it be because of good intentions. Let it be because you want to be identified as a member of the ANC who is likely to transform the life of a girl who's a slave queen who you find in Cubana.
Yeah.
Some of these people are people who are holding proper degrees. Some of them have just passed matric with flying colors, but they are unable to get sufficient resources to go into institutions of higher learning. Some of them are unable to get employment. So when you are wearing a T-shirt of the ANC, maybe you want to be identified as that Samaritan who is finally going to be able to assist this young person to find a job, because you don't want to anticipate that this person is a leader through his head because his head is dyed, has got dye or whatsoever. And then you start saying that because this one has got blonde hair, it means he's a soccer player. But if you're wearing a T-shirt of Orlando Pirates with your name written here, jersey number 10, then a person, a scout will then say that, or a supporter will say that, no, this is a player of Orlando Pirates.
Sure.
And you are not going to commit crime wearing that T-shirt of Orlando Pirates, but you are using it for the correct and right purposes.
Now let's move on to our local government. I just want to get your view and your take on the newly elected mayor of the Greater Letaba, Dagma Mamanyoa. Wow. Do you think he's doing a great job?
I don't know if you came here knowing for a fact that I'm very fond of the Cater. Uh, because here we're speaking about a young person.
Yes.
We desist from that calendar arrangement
Okay.
of saying that young person, youth is 14 to 35. But I think Dagma is a young person who's extremely passionate about youth development in his area of, in his jurisdiction. But what I then appreciate about him is that outside him being a mayor, is an individual who understands extremely the challenges which are faced by young people in our society. Dagma is a mayor in the Greater Letaba municipality, and he has only been a mayor for a year now.
Yeah.
But I can point out
What he has
to
done.
young people who have been hopeless in the last financial year. But since Dagma came into office and became a mayor, these young people are now thriving. These young people now has nice girlfriends.
Okay.
These young people are now given opportunities to shine.
Okay.
Because the most fundamental thing with our government is to make sure that young people are given an opportunity to fight.
Yeah.
If you see a young girl, a beautiful girl, walking past, you're not going to be able to convince that a girl to be your girlfriend through a poor appearance. But if you have got a leader who is able to say to you, let me empower you, let me buy you roll on. And then the next thing is not longer even about the leader buying you roll on, but he has given you an opportunity, employment, to be able to buy yourself and all other friends of yours a roll on. I take that leader serious, and that is Dagma. Dagma is an extremely fine leader.
Okay.
He's a leader who I respect so much for the contribution which he continues to do in relation to empowering the young people, not of Letaba only, but of our region.
I still have like I think 5 or 6 questions. I just want to ask the team to add more time because these coming questions. How much have we done? We've did how much? 56. Can you give us 20 minutes, please? 20, please. And let's try to keep the thing brief now. Before I move, there's a section that I want to move on to now. But before I move into that, quickly, just tell me, what is the importance of these motorcades? Because I feel like they are the ones that, personally, this is a personal one. I feel like they are a distraction, not a destruction, but distraction of, if you get what I mean. And I feel like they're unnecessary because most of these leaders, they shouldn't be having bodyguards because they are not any under threat. And at some point also it's a waste of the government resources. So what is the importance of this motorcade?
The ANC is a movement which has always believed in mass mobilization.
Okay.
But as much as we are in a society which is progressing in relation to industrial revolutions, the African National Congress is a movement which should also progress in relation to how it campaigns. For us to go out on this motor case, it is issue one which affirms what was said by the generation of 1944 of the ANC Youth League, to say that in our program of action, we're going to do what we call a defiance campaign. And the defiance campaign suggested that where we were not wanted, we are going to enter. Where they say whites only, we're going to enter as black people. They were not doing that because they wanted to be arrested or they were provoking the white government, but they wanted the ANC to be visible in all sectors of society.
Okay.
So now these motorcades are a way of showing that the African National Congress is here in this community. And as much as it is here in this community, the conditions of the people have changed. The people who walked it past the street in 1994, campaigning to say that let us go and vote for the ANC, are now driving their lives, have improved. And it now gives hope to the people who you are lobbying to surrender to your view, to say that in the ANC there's hope. You don't want to go to a community with ashy lips where you look hungry and you say that you are campaigning for the ANC.
Yeah.
The person will say immediately that there's no hope in the
Yeah.
African National Congress.
Yeah.
Motorcades are not aimed at undermining the conditions of our people.
Okay.
But they are aimed at embracing the good work that the African National Congress has done to its own members.
Yeah.
Because charity should begin at home.
Yeah.
You don't want to say to a person that we are going to build a house for you. That time you are wearing an all-star which looks like it was worn by Tambo when he came from exile.
Okay.
So in relation to bodyguards,
Yeah.
I think if you know that they are not really a waste of state resources, because the issue of bodyguards is just augmentation. When you're a mayor, you don't outsource bodyguards. You find a person who's a traffic officer in your municipality. They start driving you around. When you're an MEC,
All
it's a
right.
police officer.
Okay.
Even the president is protected by police officers and some soldiers. So you don't outsource it to a certain company.
yeah.
These people are still at work. They are paid the same amount which they will be paid. And actually, they are just being saved, Shem, because when you're a traffic officer, you stand at the road receiving 50 rands of cold drink every day, and you end up getting fired.
Yeah.
So when you're with the mayor, when you're driving the mayor, there, you are no longer exposed to that. So
Yeah.
actually, you're just promoted at work.
What is your relationship with Fikile Mbalula, and why are you so fond of this man?
Fikile April Mbalulu, the Secretary General of the African National Congress, is.
You always make sure you describe him.
Yeah. I describe. I like Fikile Mbalula because when you have got a precious thing, you should be able to preserve it. Amongst all people, out of the 7 billion people in the world, there could only be 2 people who served as presidents and secretaries general of the ANC Youth League. It was Nelson Mandela and Fikile Mbalula. I like Fikile Mbalula because Fikile Mbalula is the only person who still lives, who has served as president and secretary general of the ANC Youth League. But Fikile Mbalula, equally, is a young person who brings life to everything he touches. When Fikile Mbalula was the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, you would even have the department trending on Twitter. Unlike now where you have to wait for Makazi to move someone and then the minister starts tweeting to say that there's an event in Botswana where Makazi did not pay, so as a government we're going to assist Makazi to pay. When Mbalula was the Minister of Arts and Culture, he made sure that there is life to the department.
Is this the same Twitter that you were talking about Musi Maimani about? Or this is a different Twitter?
No, I'm just speaking about Twitter in general.
Okay.
That there's no revolution in Twitter.
Okay.
For individuals. So on Twitter, you should only trend because of the work which you have done. Do not write a tweet and think that you are creating a revolution.
Okay.
So I like Fikile Mbalula because of how he takes on issues. He's down to earth. He does not buy faces.
Yeah.
And is a person who says things as they should be. But as much as that may be the case, Fikile Mbalula, who is still now actually the Minister of Transport, just to prove that is an energetic person, has also brought life to the department itself. There are many, for instance, there's an interchange in Polokwane which has been standing for many years.
Yes.
When Mbalula came in as the Minister of Roads and Transport, that thing is complete.
Yeah.
Musina, complete. You go to Losiki everywhere. So Mbalula is a person who has got an organizational and government understanding, a person who's willing to lend out a hand to say that this is how we can best fix the African National Congress.
Okay.
I don't glorify Mbalula because he's Secretary General of the ANC. I will never do that. I appreciate Mbalula because of his conduct as an individual to say that when there is a case, I need to extend my knowledge and wisdom. And Balula, by the way, is a person who is tolerant to young people because he comes from a stage where he was a young person. Many old people, once you say things about them which they do not find comfortable, they either process you or where at worst they send people to come and kill you.
Yeah.
But Mbalula understands the principle of being a young person. So he's tolerant. When you have done something wrong, he calls you to the side to say that no, that which you have said does not give me sleepless nights. But next time, this is how you say things. It does not say, don't say these things, you're going to be compromised. He understands that young people in their very own nature have got some sort of adrenaline which is uncontrollable.
Are you affiliated to any businesses or are you in business, Mr. Ngobeni?
Except for the fact that I sell scrap metal for a living. My name is not associated to any company, but that which I do is to make sure that when there's an opportunity for young people, I speak on their behalf and they start engaging in that spaces of business. I just won't mention many because I don't want to sound as if I'm boosting my ego, or these people end up being subject to violation because they are associated with me. But I don't care what kind of which political party you are affiliated with, or who do you know what your surname is. If you are a young person and there's an opportunity, I always make sure that I give it to you. I sell scrap metal for a living.
All right. There's been a lot of talks about our Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa. So, after what has been said, what has happened, do you think personally Cyril Ramaphosa is still fit for both offices? I'm talking about Luthuli House and the Union Building.
Look, we are coming from a conference, and the African National Congress, its leadership is elected by branches. And branches in their majority all across the country say that we have got confidence in President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. And hence he was elected for a second term. Who am I to come and sit in a podcast and decide to be populist by saying that Cyril must go? As branches of the African National Congress, we said it confidently in Nazareth with a fat and elastic majority. That we have
elastic majority.
That. That we have got confidence in President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. And any government. It's just that South Africa is full of opportunities. When they see an issue happening now, they want to throw the weight on the person to say that this person must go, this and that, what's on the sellout or so. That is not President Ramaphosa. When fuel was increased rapidly in South Africa, to an extent where it was around 28 rand, people said, Ramaphosa is selling us out. Ramaphosa is not doing anything, what's or not. But they never gave attention to the Russia and Ukraine conflict, which influenced the price hike of crude oil. Now we're speaking, there is a balance in that conflict. Petrol prices have now lowered again, and we are likely to be below 20 rand per liter. The very same haters who are saying all these sort of things to President Ramaphosa are not going back to say, President, we apologize. We did not know that it was because of Russia and Ukraine. So any government should be given time to fix its issues.
Yeah.
It's just that when it relates to Eskom, I've got a different view.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
I'm following up to that.
So President Ramaphosa is the best and perfect president for both the African National Congress and South Africa. The problem which he faced mainly in the last administration, in the 54th National Executive Committee,
Yes.
was that he did not have a Secretary General in Luthuli.
Yeah.
He had to look after both the ANC and government.
Now he's got someone.
So now he has got a bull there, Razmatas.
Okay.
Razmatas.
All right.
So Razmatas is going to look after Luthuli. We're fine.
All right. Now, on this one, I'm gonna just package it for you, and then you'll give me a one answer, because I've put up a lot of questions, but due to time, I'm just gonna summarize it in all. So we're gonna dive into like the biggest problem right now in the country, which is load shedding, Eskom. We all know about it. First of all, I want to know who is to blame, and why do you think Eskom is struggling to find the capable CEO, because we keep on having CEOs that are resigning? And why is the Minister of Enterprise not held accountable for failing to oversee the crisis at Eskom? How does the government now expect small businesses to actually sustain themselves without electricity? And when it's all said and done, and probably Eskom has collapsed all the SMMEs, will the government compensate the small business as a result of the incompetency that has been going on? So I don't know if I've thrown so much at you, but I'm sure you've heard what I've said. And the last one I'll say, since the ANC understands the language of violence, why are we having zero matches towards this crisis that we are facing as a country?
We have got an Eskom which is led by a nincompoop.
Okay, what is that?
A delinquent called Andre de Rood. A person who comes from Naspers, was a CEO. He collapsed the share market of that company. He collapsed the company, brought it to its knees. That person was promoted to become the CEO of the most vital institution of our democracy. Not only our society, but our democracy, which is Eskom. Because Eskom is supposed to embrace our democracy as a society. Keeping lights on, you are saying that you are giving the people of that specific country the right to life.
Sure.
Now we introduce a person in the form of Andre de Rood, who you know for a fact that has failed previously. And I'm even asking myself if he's able to sustain his own marriages. Because there is a sense in which I believe that the man is not even able to do some things there at the background. The way he's failing at Eskom. Just the way he's failing at Eskom. So there's also a sense in which I believe, and actually it is not how I believe and see issues, but it's just how issues are. They want to collapse Eskom so that they can privatize it. And the only way to privatize a state-owned entity is to create a crisis, behave as if the situation is uncontrollable.
And who are these people?
It's Pravin Gordhan and Andre de Rood. They want to create a situation where they believe that the situation is uncontrollable. And I will speak about Pravin.
I saw you once, you went on at him on national television.
Correct. So Pravin is a person who's interested in his private life. He wants to control our lives sitting from the grave. He wants to control our lives from the grave. How you dye your hair will be controlled by Pravin in his grave. That is what he wants. He wants to privatize everything. That is why now the Eskom is being moved from public enterprises to the Department of Energy, where Gwede Mantashe, obviously, who has spoken against load shedding, who knows how to deal with load shedding. How do we best bring about our power stations together, all these units? Let me tell you, Mantashe is a communist of the South African Communist Party who believes that there should be an equal share of the state resources by its people. So once you take that that Eskom to his department, it is now regulated by him. It's going to be the man is going to fire people. Shame. We're going to start with this clueless the road. The road is going to be fired under Mantashe. Now, the reality which is happening with Eskom is that go to Imalahleni, in Mpumalanga, you will see that it is either power stations are supplied with substandard coal, and this coal is provided in this power station by companies which are given evergreen contracts. And these companies are white companies. Instead of feeding these power stations with coal, they put stones there so that the units break. And then now there's a situation at Midupi Power Station. There's a situation at Kusile Power Station. The units have tripped. And then now it means that the only way we can now manage the grid is through load shedding. So load shedding is deliberate. That is why I marched to Eskom.
Okay.
To megawatt. I made an announcement to say that as a South African, I'm going to megawatt park. It was last year. And I said, I'm going to demand the resignation of Andre de Roodt. And many other South Africans joined me to say, I ain't Samba Nawela.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you dive into this big sea alone. Samba now. And I'm very glad that the Router has handed in his resignation as the CEO of Eskom. But it is painful because he has already destroyed our lives as South Africans. He has destroyed small businesses. He has destroyed opportunities because he is also suggesting green energy. Green energy means that you do no longer use coal to fire our power stations. And the moment you make that suggestion, you are not only shutting down a mine, you are shutting down an opportunity for the people who stand outside of the mine and sell the knickknacks.
Yeah.
These parents. You are shutting down an opportunity for the young people who take the coal deposits and start selling them to these households. You are shutting down an opportunity for these trucking businesses. You are shutting down an opportunity for those who had seen themselves and as employees, as engineers, as drivers in that mine. So the moment you introduce such neoliberal policies in our government, you are shutting down all forms of possibilities.
Thank God we are under the house of the ANC. We've got lights here. There's no disturbance of any load shedding. I thank God for that. But before we round it up, I've got just the team is mad at me because of time, because I'm just enjoying, the conversation. Please keep this one very brief for me.
Okay.
It's just
be brief too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know you will want to extend with this one, but keep it brief for me.
Okay.
Do you think the CIC, Julius Malema, or Sello, Julius Malema, will one day take over the presidency office?
The only commander-in-chief of all armed forces in the country is Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. The CIC in South Africa is Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, not any other toy soldier. So I belong to a movement called the African National Congress. And for the rest of my life, I will always campaign for the African National Congress to make sure.
Hold it there. Do you know that same person once said that?
Julius Malema was expelled from the African National Congress because of his behavioral inaccuracies. and his elastic stomach.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want that man coming at me. Are you in support of young people, or should I say young leaders such as Ntlantlalax?
We are in a different space of politics. And Ntlanhla is my friend.
Yeah.
We share a lot of things together, but we might differ ideologically and politically.
Yeah.
But the issues which he raises to some extent are issues which I believe might have a positive impact in shaping our society.
Yeah.
But I believe in all the young people who are in the African National Congress who are now playing a pivotal role in trying to change our societies.
And lastly, what are your future plans for the ANC?
Well,
you can put them in bulletin forms, or just so we don't go anymore. I just wanted to ask this question.
My future plan for the ANC is to make sure that even this house which we are in needs to be renovated because it houses a revolutionary movement. It is the headquarters of a revolutionary movement which has participated significantly in making sure that the victims of violence in South Africa finally get justice. It is a movement which has made sure that even those who have not had opportunities previously of participating in the mainstream economy now have that opportunity. But my plans as an individual in the African National Congress is to make sure that I play a significant role in making sure that we revive the ANC Youth League, because that can only be the instrument which champions and sharpens the future of our country. And the future of this country is the young people of this country. So we're going to make sure that we participate actively in the revival project of the ANC Youth League. I am serving as the national spokesperson of COSAS, and we have been engaged in many battles. One, in making sure that all parts of the country know about the existence of the Black and White Army. But secondly, we have made sure that we are going to make sure that the interests of these young soldiers who are in the classroom and all other young soldiers who are underprivileged have got their issues championed.
No, man. Thank you so much. I just wish, my wish is to see you become like the Youth League president, because I believe you've got a bright future ahead of you. And are you married, or you're still looking for the correct people?
When I did the Hustlers Corner with DJ Spoo, he asked me the same question. And at that time, my relationship issues were still cantankerous. But now it looks like things are...
You're hitting me with the serious way.
It looks like now things are flowing properly. But I'm not married. But the way things... Because I'm a young man who's responsible.
Sure.
I'm a young man who does not go around... get motivated by a lot of miniskirts. I've got one woman who I love so dearly. And I am willing to participate in...
Is she part of DA or the EFF?
No, she's apolitical. But in 2024, she's going to vote, and she's going to vote the ANC.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You heard it from the man, Douglas Ngobeni. This has been a lovely interview. Thank you from us, limpopo.podcast. We thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and we want to hear from you. Sefa Shelele. Thank you.